Change my chart colors. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this range I had here from the previous session and start deleting levels that we had marked, and that's fine. I think we do want to keep this daily. I think that was level. Um, Oopsies, that's the wrong one to get rid of. Just gonna get rid of this 4, and we're just gonna kind of look at Bitcoin here and what it's doing and see where we can engineer some trades. So, important levels to mark. Obviously, you've got your I believe that's a weekly hold level. I'm not sure why I have it as red. So let's just start by new day, fresh set of eyes. Look at what's happening next. I'm gonna just do a very straightforward thing here. Combo all my ranges down. So you've got a daily here. Same thing we always do. Just really making sure that I have all the information that I need. You got a daily. You have a 4-hour. I'm gonna start using the wicks now because I do see that we are above this this weekly. I do want to start using wicks here to indicate where the combo levels can reach to. Hourly, good. I don't know if we'll be able to get a 15 here. Let's cut this here. Hourly origin that held up the move. Didn't test that. I'd like to see what happened on the 4-hour back there. To also understand if there's a trail somewhere that needs to be created here. Yes, right here. You see, 4-hour. It didn't hit. Never mind. Man, I would really love to see that 15-minute information right about now. I bet you it's right here. We can't assume that, but I'm, pretty confident that's what it is there. Let's just go back to the hourly here. Take one more look at what's going on here. We've got the wick, we've got that. Origin. Probably that's what got hit. That stuff's too high. That stuff's too low. Because this would have been here and that would have tested it and broke it down. Well, okay, so that's fine. I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy with that. So just looking at the levels here, last session we looked at, take this out. We looked at this final piece of the range here and we looked at stuff down in here, right? Like we looked at these breaks here, the final piece of the range here, and then, moving past that, even just delete that one there, I believe. One here is gone. There's another level that was on the charts, gone. Nothing to really look at too much there. And yeah, so during our last session, this was protecting the final range, like these levels all in here, right? Like protecting that final range. More so this 54K, protecting that final piece getting up here, and then just going back to what we last talked about. Once that breaks, you're going right to the next range. Like you're exposing the range, right? And that was really the key thing of this, is that once you and that's where I had that green range like this earlier in this session here, just where you saw that, and I deleted it right at the start. You break this here, and that's protecting the final range. And so like it should come to no shock as to anybody is that this thing moving up so much and just starting to rip out of its mind. That this should be no shock to anybody, because that's exactly what we did last time. We talked about this final range being broken and this protecting that final range. And once you're past that, you just you're shooting for these levels up here. So now we really have to do our job at looking at what levels are coming next, right? You almost want to think about longs here, but obviously a little bit of hindsight trading right now. But you've got hold level right here that's hit, and then you've got the next one here that's hit, and then I don't know if this one is hit here. 5 minute. You don't have anything else you can base your time frames on here. 5 minute is all you have, and then so that's hit, and the only thing you really have left now is starting to be something like this, which is going to be front run to here, right? So this is really the kind of the final piece that you have on this chart. There's nothing else left. This is like the only real spot for reentry if you're wanting to buy this thing breaking up. And here, oopsies. And so like this is a good rebuy opportunity, I think, down here. I think I wouldn't be buying this to play that spike there. I would probably wait for it to drop a bit. I'd look for an opportunity to take 3% here and then take this up higher. So hopefully we do have a little pullback here, but I don't think it's really guaranteed at this point. And even with this range trend in the way, if it stops at that range trend, you got to get in. You just got to get in the trade. It's just like what we saw earlier on in the in the week there when we saw that trend from the bottom, and then last week as well. Just these like internal range trends are just holding this thing up. So, first trade, you hope that this pulls back to one of these spots down here. It could also just hold this and start just ladder right here too. So I think there's a couple spots here where you can look at potentially saying that these might be smart areas to buy, because you definitely want to play this range up to see if it's going to break the move. Because if it breaks Bitcoin's range, like there's no, it just flies until it stops. Like, does it go to 100K? Does it go to, I don't know, 200K? Does it just go to like 70K or 80K? If it starts breaking this final range, it's going to have a substantial move up, right? So now I don't think this is going to be how it was back in the day when you when you had this kind of move here and it just ripped ranges. I think you're kind of looking at something like maybe 80 or 90K, 90K, something like that, maybe 100. I just don't see it going too crazy, but you never know. It's Bitcoin. It can do crazy things. The only important thing is we just get in the trade and see what levels develop and then play it from there. So I think these are your first kind of trades on the day here. I think this is where you're first looking. I don't think I'd be trying to play something much lower. You've already broken over this final level here. I believe it was, well, I have it marked as a daily, but I want to say it's not a daily, but I don't really think the time frame matters here. Once you've gone past this, like you're not coming back down here. You've already got a new range developed, so we already know like where our levels to buy would be. I don't know, maybe like best case scenario you get down to here, but I would wouldn't sit here waiting for this to hit, because I don't really think it will. You could also hit this as a reverse. Like there are a few levels here that could act as reverse levels, right? Like there are a few. This one could be a reverse, and then you could maybe get the larger time frame range trend here to here that breaks the move up. Like these are all possibilities we have to be aware of, right? Inverse here, 15-minute. This is important as well right now. 5 offsets the 15, so you lose the 15, you go after the 5. Same thing happens down here. You lose this 15, a 5-minute stops you up top if you do stop, or an hourly, or you just Pandora's box it. And we don't have that information right now to look at what this target is pulling back, or if it is even a pullback. I don't think is really relevant. So okay, so you have an hourly here. This is interesting because you have an hourly here. You have an hourly here. I think this is actually a good spot to look at too as well. If you were to, they're 40%, so 40% to the hold. There's nothing for it to really combo, I don't think. Oh yeah, there is. You've got a 15-minute here, so I think we also have to build this as well. That's it. That holds it up. That's it. So I really think you're back down in here. I don't think you're using this 15-minute level, but I do think that this hourly is something to be aware of. And I'm just going to measure wick to backside here. 11%. I don't know if you're taking this, are you ever taking that down there? 30%. Yeah, you can. But there's not much left for this to combo to unless you're looking at reverse levels. 15 there, but that's already kind of tested. Not really tested, but pretty sure this is tested. It's not, but I think it's not something I would go for. Don't think at that point I'd be going for that part of the move. Origins down here. No. Nothing. You've got this here, but I don't really feel like that's going to do anything. That creates the 15-minute. So 15-minute hold levels right here. So that would just kind of be like this right here. 15-minute level right here, which is, do you take that over this? And if you're taking that, you got to start looking at the hourly. 14%. No, I don't think it's worth it. I'll just back on the screen a bit here. Yeah, really think this is kind of your range that you're playing. I don't think you're going lower into these things here. I think you're protecting this range, and I don't even know if you're going to get down there. It's really hard to tell right now because you have no feasible targets here that are actually going to pull this thing back. So I think for that reason, you are going for your higher targets. I don't think you're going for, or what you do is you just take whatever time frame that's been hitting, which is that 5-minute, and you go for the 5-minute level. Those 5-minute levels are there, are they not? Yeah, you've got backside right on top of this 15, which I believe is the hourly. It's the hourly. Yeah. Change that color. Hourly combos to the 15 first as a first stop, which is literally right here. So that's like your combo is already 15 hourly. And then so, or you have hourly 15. So I think at that point, we need to really start removing the other levels on our chart and start just working with combos. Let's move that hourly 15, 15. Let's remove this 15 because this 15 here is not going to hit if the hourly is right under it. The hourly is going to hit and it's going to go for the 15 below it as a deep dive. So we can already start removing levels off our chart. So now we're left with combos hourly 15, hourly 15. Is there any untested 5-minute levels in any of these? There is. There's this one right here. So I think this is maybe where you start to think about your trade is right here on this 5. This 5 is also kind of technically, it's technically untested, but I just don't know if you're going to blow past all these combos to go deeper in the range and below the range trend, because that range trend will also hold up this move. For that reason, I think I just that off the chart, have this 15, have that 5. I think this is a pretty good target here. This 5. I think this is what I like for a long. That's okay. Yep. What I like for a long. 5-minute charts have been holding this thing like crazy. For shorts, I don't like using 100x right now for shorts. Not here. Not here. It can get too wild. I wouldn't be taking 100x shorts in here. I would be, with this final level happening here, I would be taking like maybe 10x shorts, maybe 25. That's the first way I'd control some of the volatility in here, because I think when you look at a final range like this, that's got to be one of your top consideration is controlling volatility. 100x just doesn't leave enough room to actually get into trades. Not in this type of moment. If you're going to 100x, you're 100xing down here to try to just break this stuff straight up and then riding the wave. But volatility right now is just, it's going to be, there's too many levels. They're too far apart. Like this weekly level to the daily has got to be a couple percent. Yeah, it's 2%. And then to the next weekly, you're at almost 3. And then combo level 3, next combo level 4%. If it hits the origin, you're at 5%. Above that and spikes and goes here, 8%, creates a trend. Like that's really going to be one of the key metrics here that we need to look at, right? For the future of Bitcoin here is, what does this weekly trend look like? This range trend, what does it look? Oh, it's not really a range trend. This is just an actual going to be a legacy trend. So this will be the trend that dictates Bitcoin's future. So either we blast past this, make no trend, or this creates a trend and that dictates the future, right? Like, but it's an important moment for Bitcoin. It's all very important right now. All from this part of the move down here that we looked at last time, protecting the entire upper range, or it was this part, I suppose. It was, well, we analyzed both of these, but this was the final level before getting to the final boss here and getting to that final range, and that blows, and then you just pop straight up into this range, which is all very expected at this point. But I don't think I would be using 100x leverage in here. It's just way too risky. The only way I would use 100x leverage is if you clearly hit one of these origins, and probably really, actually, to be honest with everybody, just the final origin, like hit this final origin here, pull back, and then take that as a re-entry. That's probably the only scenario I would use 100x, and then see how crazy it gets from there. But that's got to be it. That's got to be the only scenario where I'd probably do 100x. And everything else here is a little too risky. I don't even know if I would go, and if this pulls it back and then it hits it again. Now, maybe if it just sits here and continues, because hitting a weekly, like, the difference between this level here and this level here is this can dump in a day. This is going to take time. So if this, I would rather use this as a reverse in the future to coordinate with a legacy trend. If you hit this and then you pull back and later on in the day you hit it again on weekly candles, like you could be here for 3 weeks just hitting it over and over. Like it's silly. Like it's a weekly time frame. Like it's too big to take it on 100x. This, however, though, it could hit it, pull back for a day, hit it again the second day, and on that second day, you could see, like, do you take it there, or do you see if it creates like some kind of starting to create hold levels, and then you take one of these hold levels? I think that's a more realistic scenario. The weekly time frame is too long. It could stay there for 2-3 weeks before it dumps. It could continue to hit that. I'd rather see that reversed in the future and give us clarity in that regard. Yeah, that's what I like for this. So for longs and shorts, that's kind of what I'm looking at. This stuff I'm analyzing in the moment. There's no, in these moments, there's no way I'm ever taking any of these levels here on a knife catch. It's not happening. It's not worth it. So I think your best case scenario for trading right now today is looking at these longs to try to break that range. Because again, if it breaks the range and just moves straight up, like you're good. You're gonna make a lot of money. You'll make 3,000, 4,000, 5,000% on something like this, because it's gonna it's gonna fly up a couple 10, 20,000, maybe 30. I don't know. Guess we'll see. Like there's a way for me to chart it to get that next level, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't think it's something I'll ever share. Like when we were at 10K and then we went up to 64K and I called the 64.6 at the bottom of the chart. Like there's a way to find that level, but yeah, I'll do that on my own time, by myself. Not levels I would advise people to trade on either way. Nor do I ever tell people to, where to take trades. Just show them the opportunities and they make their own decisions. So not something I would publicly share. Different if I'm on Twitch and I just make a call out and then it comes true. Like that's one thing, but not in a group like this. I wouldn't. Too risky. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I'd really analyze with this final range. I'm honestly sitting here at this point waiting for those trade opportunities. You can also start thinking about taking a short somewhere in here to get down to that level, because it is a decent trade. Like you do have 2% here, so I think that's kind of valuable right now. I think if you lose this 5-minute level and you start moving below this, I think that's where you really start to look at if it's time to take a trade or not. So let's look at this right now, and yeah, that's a 5-minute actually. Let's just leave it at that color. 3-minute here. It doesn't even look like there's a short right now. It looks like it's just going to keep moving up. Oof, this is a risky trade, but you could go for the 1-minute. The second it starts to not reject, you have to get out. You're almost getting in and out of this trade within a minute, within 2 minutes. You're not holding that, that's for sure. But I do think there's like a good reasonable cause to go down here to 1.4% to there. Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to leave on the table here. Let's look for an origin. 3-minute here. 3-minute break. That could be the start of it. 5-minute break as well. Come on. You have a 5-minute break, 3-minute break. One minute here could hold it. This is going to be something it struggles and fights with to hold up. So if you take this to here, like, does this become a trade that's worth it? To 80%, it's worth it. Yeah, 80%. That's worth it. This isn't an I wish this was an origin of be very convenient and nice. Not. Oh well, this thing's moving quick, so I think you take this 1-minute level there. Yeah, you take the 1-minute level. You
Could
take
you
the
still
1-minute
use
level.
that level?
Well, for the fact that it's rejection as a target on the 15, this is if this break, if you're going to take a trade and you don't reject this, you're just moving up. There's nothing to take if this breaks. This is it. This is your short rate here. And if you start getting above that, you got to get out of the trade instantly. It's a very controlled trade, very easy, very simple. But you get above this, don't expect anything. Which also coordinates with the 1-minute hold level, so that's fine. I like that as a short. And if you start moving above it, you just get the hell out. 26%. Yeah, you just get out. There's too much here. There's too much flex here. And if your minimum on that is 80%, it becomes worth it. That's a good measurement of profit to losses, 80%. It's at least 2-1, even if you go for a 40% stop loss, it's still 2-1. Like, it's a great trade. Stat wise, it makes a lot of sense. I think it's I think it's a little risky to take it, but if you're going to take a short, that's where you do it. I personally would take this, even just as the 80%, because I think you here to here and then you can move up. So that's like a good 80% trade right there. But yeah, I'll take that short. And you also don't want to sit on the sidelines and, like, look, you could have taken this to this trade and it was a full 1.3%. And it just ladders off whatever this little wick is. Like there's just, or you could have just taken this 1 minute hold level and you've got, you know, another 80%. Like you got to get in these trades. There's a lot of money to be made on days like this. You can constantly scalp out a full 100% here and there. Meanwhile, other days we're clawing to get a percent or two, you know, because we're just sitting there trading all day and we're not taking enough trades. I think that's a problem with people is they don't take enough trades.
Exactly what I've been grappling with lately. And I think honestly the directional bias and like the strength of the overall move and how you explain that is really helpful. Because I
Yeah,
think that's
like
kind
that,
of like
exactly what you said,
that,
that directional bias,
yeah.
right? Like things are just moving up, moving up, moving up. Like that's fine. That's fantastic. Things are moving up, but you can't just trade. Like I think that's a very toxic thing that people hang on to is trade the direction of the market. Like, yes, I agree. Let that, to a point, I agree. I don't agree with that. We should only trade the direction of the market. Like if you, for example, here, trade the direction of the market. We know it's going up, so fine, take longs and have a bias towards them to make more percentage on the longs, but don't have a bias to say, I don't want to take shorts because this thing is going long. Shorts exist everywhere. They exist all the time, all day long. Every couple of minutes, there's shorts and longs. Even if the market is moving up, there's still shorts and money to be made. It just means that your bias should say, like, okay, if you're taking this level, it should be 80%. If you're taking this level, you should be playing it for 3 or 4%. Like that's where your bias is and what the outcome is, not the bias to enter the trade. 4%. The bias is not, like that's just it. It shouldn't be a bias to take trades. It should just be a bias on what you expect for profits. Like that's,
Right.
we still need to take trades constantly. There's no reason not to. Like there's a short that exists here. It's just, where does it come from? Which level? For me, 61,276. Rejection is target on the 15. Go down to hit your 5-minute level to offset it. Very simple. So now you just are looking for your 5-minute level, which is right here. And that's perfect. It's literally a perfect trade. 15, offset 5, hedge long, get your 4% up. Oh, 6% actually, I believe this one would be. 5%, you know? Potential 2 candle break here to pay attention to if we do lose this part of the move now. Re-enter there instead of here, possibly. Or you take the same entry, it just down to here. And it's kind of good to analyze these trades with rejection as a target, +1, -1, because it does give you a lot of clarity. Like right now, we know it's a 1 and a 15 and all that. So like, where does the 5 exist? The 5 exists here, and it's failing to gain the 5. So maybe this won't offset, and maybe now it'll fail to gain the 3. I guess we'll see, right? Because it failed to gain the 5, and now it fails to gain the 3, and then it fails to gain a 1 if you have like an accumulation candle. Maybe you should just long that accumulation candle if it fails to gain that, because it fails to gain 5, fails to gain 3, fails to gain 1, moves up. Right, so let's see what happens here. It has to ladder off of this. Right, so that would be another. You don't want it to hit. I guess it can as a reverse though, because it didn't hit it perfectly yet, but it can as a reverse. What's that 15-minute it's struggling with? See if it can get above this 3 now. Okay. Okay. Nice patient waiting game here.
Timecodes.
Hater. And we sit and we wait.